And you're just in time for yet another exciting and informative edition of Business Glide. My name is Richard Mwanja. Such a pleasure to have you on board. Now today on this particular edition, how about we unpack President William Ruto's bag of goodies for the Kenyans at large? And to help me delve into this subject is none other than renowned public scholar from the lineage of Nabongo Mumia, Herman Manyora.
Yes.
Great to see you, sir.
Thank you, Irrigation.
I mean, the other day was Mashujaa Day. We are actually seeing you coming from a great lineage. But I mean, I have a double take on this. 59 years later on, as a senior citizen, if Tom Mboya or Musa Mariam or Dedan Kimathi was just to wake up for a day, do you think they'll be proud of where we've come as a country this far?
Yes and no.
In terms of democracy?
Yes, because many countries did not even make 2 steps. They faltered. They are still trying to find a path. Yet we are moving on. But no, because we have not achieved our dreams. The dreams of our forefathers, our founding fathers, of those who fought.
What do you make of people like those who are still living, the legends, people like Field Marshal Muthoni wa Kirima, and many other who are landless, and they are still in this country, they fought for freedom.
That is what will... Actually, they will want to go back to the grave. They wouldn't want to live another minute in a Kenya, where after independence, those who fought and risked everything are landless. When the home guards own all the trucks, they would not believe it.
But you have a council that looks into the affairs of our national heroes. You've seen it there, a fully-fledged council.
That's just a joke.
A joke, you mean?
Just a joke, yeah.
Come on.
We never gave land to Kenyans who deserved land after independence. And we didn't even hide it. We said it Kenyatta said it. Kwa stadium. Sema hakuna kitu ya bure. Even when we had an attempt at settling people through a settler fund, our independence leader said, no, the option of giving people free land is not acceptable to them. But it will encourage laziness. People must work hard. People must, at the very least, get loans to buy those lands. That meant only the thieves, only the ngorokos, only the home guards could possess the land. And it still obtains. So yes, we are moving on. We are not underwater. We have not sunk, so they will be happy. But they will be surprised and shocked that to this day, foreigners still own huge tracts of land. And the Kenyans themselves, a majority of Kenyans are squatters in their own independent country. They cannot believe it.
To that council that was formed up to look into affairs of our heroes, what will be your word to President Ruto? Should it keep it?
Disband it.
Disband it?
Let's do, I keep telling people, don't hide under commissions or working parties.
Task force and all
Task force, the rubbish. We know what needs to be done. There's land in this country, which we just need to give to those who deserve the land. We need a good land policy. We need to have laws governing land tenure system. We need to know how much an individual can own, how much land you can have idle without use, how much tax you should be, and where are the people whose lands were annexed.
But in as much as we have...
Why should the people at the coast be squatters in their own land? Those who own those parcels of land, how do they get those parcels of land? How? Those are simple things. You don't need a task force. There are people who have grabbed ADC land, thousands upon thousands of acres. You don't need a task force that.
Getting land from an agency, a government agency, you mean?
Oh, do you know how much land ADC had in this country? And it's in the hands of Kenyans, non-Kenyans, not those who are not known. Wale wanajulikana.
Anyway,
foreigners owning land in Laikipia, hundreds of thousands of acres.
They are doing conservancy tourism.
Which conservancy is this? These are our animals we were given by God. We know how to live with them. No Mzungu can come and teach us how to live with our animals. And when we want to kill a few of them, we shall kill them. They are our animals. God put them here. Wao walipewa zao wakaua zote. Sasa wanakuja kutuletea ujinga hapa.
All right.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we have to be serious as people.
And even in the same breath, the remains of our heroes like Samoei Koitalel should be brought back to the country for heritage.
Yeah, and where is Dedan Kimathi's grave? We want the bones of Dedan Kimathi. We want to give the bones a decent burial. You can't tell me with the modern science we can't trace it.
And also for tourism through heritage and all that.
And until recently, Mau Mau was a banned organization in Kenya. Until 15 years ago. About 15 or so years ago, during Kibaki's time. I was surprised.
Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, sir, in as much as the previous government haven't availed land to these people who fought for freedom and also contributed to the development of this country 59 years later on, we've seen a different view in terms of political goodwill coming from President Ruto, if his bag of goodies during Mashujaa Day is anything to go by.
Yes.
Now, let's start particularly with regards to improving the welfare of the many Kenyans who depend on farming. Therein is a commitment to build 100 dams through public-private partnerships. Now, let's start from this point. You've been a big critic of PPPs in the previous past. And the main concern that you've had is with regards to information asymmetry. How much information is out there for the public? This government is committed to doing 100 dams. This particular time, how should they do it differently? And don't you think that is enough commitment from William Ruto and enough goodwill for the many Kenyans who depend on agriculture?
Who told him we need dams? And you know, PPCs, all public-private partnerships, leave the government holding the short end of the stick. All of them. It's simple. Come on. Even the expressway. That if they don't recover their money, government will pay. They do the road, you do the underground passage, you compensate people for land, and you lose billions of shillings.
Then if you
so to what extent is it their project? In other words, PPs to start there. Unless you re-engineer them, they are conduits for corruption, and the government does not get a deal out of them, number one. Number two, who told Ruto we need dams?
We need to irrigate the farms.
To irrigate what? For what?
No longer depending on rain-fed agriculture.
No, come on. That's a lie. It's a big lie. We have a deficit of 10 million bags, thereabouts, of maize. You know, we eat maize in this country. Let's start there. A deficit of 10 million bags. Do you know what? And I hope Ruto understands this, and because he comes from North Rift. If you only help the farmer in the North Rift, was in Gishu, Nandi, Trans Nzoia, Kakamega, Apo, those areas, West Pokot, where people farm maize, so that they do not waste. And we have talked about this many times. Food loss. Make sure when they're harvesting, they can access dryers for their maize and so on and so forth.
Nice.
Give them good seed, good fertilizer, ensure there's proper marketing, a little value addition. Kenya will begin to export maize. You don't need a dam to do that. You don't need agriculture. You don't need irrigation. So those dams are a conduits of corruption. They are grossly exaggerated in terms of the cost. But you don't need them. At least not for agriculture for now. And when you finally you'll need irrigation, it will be for rice, for example, for horticulture, not for maize. So let's start with maize. Let's put food on the table. Let's have sufficient maize. By doing just small things, plucking the low-hanging fruits, the frustration the farmer faces in Gishu, just remove that frustration. Peke yake. And the 10 million deficit atakupatia na kuongeza another 15 million. You now begin to export maize. 1 year. You don't need irrigation. You don't need anything. No magic. You don't even need money.
In the same breath about agriculture and revamping the fortunes therein,
Yes.
you've said that at some point we had the Agricultural Development Corporation farms in there during Moi regime.
Yes.
We don't know where they went, but President Ruto has said
We know where they went. People grabbed them, and we know the people. Get back those lands.
he has made a commitment to improve agricultural extension services to the farmers. In the past, all these officers were based under the ADC lands and organizations therein.
Yes.
Now, where is the missing link that he needs to adopt to bring and
Even
revive
there,
ADC
you are
land?
missing the point. The first point is, in terms of beyond maize and the wheat and the other things you need to farm, you must be looking at land holding. In a country where people have land they are not using, arable land, it is very difficult for me to be convinced you are serious about food security. So do the things I said about farming of maize in the North Rift. Then you have sufficient maize for consumption and export and animal food feed, okay? And then move to make good use of land that is available, that God has given us, by looking at land tenure system. Who owns land? What is he doing with that land? Okay? Then move. You know, this is a very simple thing. When we have done that, before you go into those things of irrigation, look at seed before you bring GMOs, which is now a disaster. Why would somebody be selling maize seed in this country, for example? Nobody see that. They are lying to you.
You have the capacity to produce
They are
our own.
lying to you because they are not serious. You are doing business with farmers and you are telling me you are serious about agriculture. Lies, big lies. Uongo mtupu. Kalo, University of Nairobi, Egerton University, blah, blah. They have sufficient land to grow maize seed and give it to farmers free.
K-free and K-fish, everything.
Free. Then you know, hakuna fake seed, number one. It is free because it will not even cost the government anything. It will be done by our universities and research institutes with a little budgetary support of less than 2 billion per year. They will give you free maize seed, all these seeds, free. Lock out people who are bringing fake seeds. That alone will be responsible for the 10 million deficit. Just that alone.
But then again,
so really, this
from
either they do not know what they are talking about, they do not understand the problem, or they are all fake people.
From your argument, I mean, a farmer in Buru or Garsen, yes, somewhere there in Tana River,
yes,
will say probably you portend doom for them.
Why?
Why am I saying so? Because yes, President Ruto has committed his government to undertaking actually double the land under irrigation within the next 3 years to 1.4 million acres.
Who tells you those people in those arid areas want to farm maize? Who tells you?
They say
experts will tell you, as is where is. A guy in that dry area, part of Baringo, does not need to go into maize farming. He can do honey.
Livestock?
He can do honey, for example. So you don't need to give him the things you are trying to give. In giving those things, you want to give yourself money. It's a project.
But they have seen the potential.
Listen, I'm telling you, for example, within a certain ecosystem, you can do agribusiness, agri-farming, without all this hulabalo about dams, about what. No. Minimal expenditure, minimal cost. If you want to give the people of Garissa, you don't turn them into maize farmers. People of Moyale, you give them perhaps water for livestock only, drinking points, watering points. And it doesn't have to cost the billions you are talking about. With the river Tana passing in Garissa. You know, so these are businesses people are making with multinationals and our leaders. They want to be billionaires. There's nobody among these people wants to solve food problem in Africa.
But that boy from Tana River probably is because he has seen the potential of Galana Kulalu.
And Galana probably Kulalu it can be reignited. That was fake.
Only a deal with that. I mean,
Galana Kulalu was a big joke. First of all, I laughed. I say, Galana Kulalu, 1 million acres irrigation. Do you have the water? Both the Tana River and underground. They wouldn't get enough water to undertake that kind of irrigation. As a layman, I said it on a TV show. Some expert called me after the show. Herman Manyora, how do you know this? But it's common sense. A year later, they were saying the same things we had said.
But then again, that was...
So, you know, now I'm saying this is a joke. You know, this country must stop joking. Galana Kulalu was a joke. Secondly, and this is even more important, I said if you put, initially it was 1 million acres of maize. At 60 bags per acre, that is 60 million bags of, or my sabiangu nimbaya, 60 times 1 million is 60 million.
60 million.
Kenya at that time required 50 million or so bags of maize consumption, below 50. So that means if Galana Kulalu worked, then every maize farmer in this country will have closed shop. And that was Ruto's project. And his people in North Rift depend on maize farming. So if Galana Kulalu succeeded, as initially conceived, then the maize farmer in Wasinigishu would have been in serious trouble. So, my friend, these guys are not serious.
Talking about matters Galana
and Kulalu. I hope it is genuine. I'm just praying for this country that it is genuine. You know, when you don't understand, I believe that is okay. because we can't all understand everything. I just hope those guys cooking these ideas of agriculture, I hope it is from a position of ignorance. And when they learn better, the country. But if they know what I know and they're still lying to the country, that's a disaster.
But if you go down memory lane and you look at the procurement, the bidding process that came, later on with the Galana Kulalu, this was Green Arava, a top-notch Israeli firm that does matter smart irrigation and agribusiness in there. Are you trying to signal that there was definitely a hitch in matters procurement and flaws therein even before we started the project, the Galana Kulalu?
The less we talk about Galana Kulalu, the better. It's a waste of public funds.
All right.
Even clearing the forest, if you are told how much money people are paid to clear an acre of land, you run away. Please, let's not go there.
All right, as we
it's just a cash cow. But if it worked, it would have spelled doom to the maize farmer in the North Rift. So just to summarize what you talked about, Kenya does not need those dams and those irrigation schemes William Samoei Ruto is talking about.
Right.
Right now, you don't need them. We need, first of all, to do the low-lying fruits, help the farmers within their own ecosystem, their own areas. We get sufficient food. Then we look at an area that requires minimal support in terms of water to increase its potential, especially in terms of horticulture.
I see.
You see? So we move like that gradually. Gradually, we shall irrigate those millions as we gather experience and expertise and technology and the marketing strategies. Then we shall go to those millions of acres they are talking about. But for now, we don't need them.
All right, aside from the lands under irrigation and what you've said, the 100 dams pledge therein, he has tried to also boost or rather diversify output from our agricultural sector by committing his government to distributing 650 milk coolers. At some point, KCC, Kenya Creameries Cooperative, was the pride of the nation when it comes to dairy farming. If you look at the recent vetting process, every politician, every nominee comes forward and saying they are heavy into dairy farming. Would you say the fall of our dairy industry in Kenya and also the fortunes of parastatals such as KCC is because our leaders are already in the business, so there is a conflict of interest? So the normal farmer cannot benefit from the sector.
Correct.
Are you trying to say that?
Correct, yeah. That's true. That conflict. That conflict is very serious.
Then how are the milk coolers going to benefit the farmer at the end of the day?
These milk coolers, they are just other... If you follow it after 5 years, it will have come to nothing. It must be well thought out within the context of a certain program. So you must first of all start with a program, then fit in those 650 coolers. You don't just buy coolers and say you are giving them to farmers.
Cabin post-harvest loss in matters dairy farming.
It's just like the maize dryers I was talking about in the North Rift. No, because if you have maize coolers, then you are saying nobody's going to exploit the farmer. And that's a good thing to do.
I see.
Yeah. But I'm saying it must be within a program. If you went to Murang'a County, it was fitting within a certain program. And it brought stability in the pricing of milk in Murang'a County. And it has spilled over into other areas around Murang'a. So when it's well thought of, then it is geared towards stabilizing prices, saving loss, which is a good idea.
All right, that point by Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of this conversation. We have been unpacking President William Ruto's pledge to the nation at large with regards to different sectors of the economy, be it agriculture, be it matters trade, and even matters engaging the local mwananchi when it comes to the potential of the Juakali industry. Definitely part 2 of this series is coming on board very soon. So keep tuned to this particular channel. Be glued to Business Glide. It is the home of the most comprehensive coverage in matters business and economics. With yours truly, Richard Mwanja. Time for our fun of the week. It is none other than Celestine Chebichi in Eldoret.
Celestine from Eldoret, thank you very much for being part of this wonderful family.
I see. Until next time, God bless you. Up next, the Business Glide African proverb of the day.